We can bring you more now from the Borno state capital, which has suffered many losses of life and property since the command center was moved from the Nigerian Federal Capital Territory to Maiduguri. In this report, our correspondent Cynthia Are takes us through the series of attacks which the city has suffered in the last 3 months.
Defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
On May the 29th, a lot changed in Nigeria, including leaders and the Boko Haram command center, which was moved from the Federal Capital Territory to the Borno state capital, Maiduguri.
But victory cannot be achieved by basing the command and control center in Abuja. The command center will be relocated to Maiduguri and remain until Boko Haram is completely subdued.
Many were thrilled about President Muhammadu Buhari's decision. But Maiduguri seems to be paying what many call a high price since that choice was made. Since the inauguration, in Borno State alone, there have been attacks on a weekly basis which have claimed well over 100 lives. The latest happened on July the 31st, in which 5 people were killed in Gamboro Market blast. On June the 27th, 5 were killed in Molai General Hospital explosion. On June the 22nd, 8 people were killed in twin bombings at the Baga Fish Market. On June the 11th, 3 bombers died on Maiduguri Highway before reaching their targets. On the same day, 5 people were killed in twin blasts. On June the 4th, 2 people died in a suicide bombing near the military checkpoint. On June the 2nd, 50 people were killed in an abattoir bombing. On May the 31st, 4 people were killed at Gamboro Market as a bomb exploded. On May the 30th, 26 people were killed in an explosion at a mosque. On the same day, 13 people were killed in an attempted attack on Maiduguri's business sector. This means a total of 121 people have died in just 3 months in what seems to be a heightened attack by the Boko Haram sect in Borno State. If the statement by the former Chief of Defense Staff, Alex Bade, that the military is ill-equipped is anything to go by, then this might just be the time for the authorities to take a second look at the military with the intention of providing it with equipment to perform its constitutional role of safeguarding Nigeria's territory. Cynthia Are, Channels Television News.
By midnight today, Nigeria will assume rotational presidency of the United Nations Security Council in New York. Nigeria's permanent secretary to the UN takes over from Ambassador Gerald Boheman, the permanent representative of New Zealand, who held the presidency for the month of July 2015. This would be the first time in the history of the United Nations that an elected member of the Security Council would assume presidency for the 4th time in 2 separate tenures. Nigeria was elected a non-permanent member of the Security Council on October 17, 2013. With this feat, Nigeria would be serving for the 5th time since independence on the most powerful decision-making organ of the United Nations. A statement signed by Dr. Tokwe Elias Fatile says that Nigeria's return to the Council after having left in December 2012 represents one of the shortest periods in the annals of the United Nations that a member state has served 2 terms in the Council. According to him, this is even more remarkable as it is occurring under institutional memory of the same permanent representative, Joy Ogu, who chairs the 2 Security Council committees, the First Security Council Committee and Iraq Sanctions Committee. Nigeria is also one of the 3 vice chairs of the Security Council Committee established on non-proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, and also of one of the vice chairs. Nigeria is also one of the vice chairs of the Security Council Committee on Sudan. 33 retired generals of the Nigerian Army Corps of Artillery were today pulled out of service in Kaduna State, northwest Nigeria. 12 major generals and 21 brigadier generals, including the former general officer commanding 1 division of the Nigerian Army, Major General Lawrence Jokotola, were retired. In a valedictory speech, General Jokotola advised that the old ideals of military training Good administration and discipline are maintained to overcome the current security challenges. He commended the Army authorities for re-engaging a number of retired officers to serve as consultants and instructors, saying that such sharing of knowledge and expertise will be of immense benefit to the serving officers. Traders and shop owners in the Mechanic Village area of Okeafa, Isolo, Lagos are now counting their losses after a midnight fire that ravaged some shops. The only reported casualties were 3 sisters aged 5, 7 and 12 who were burnt to death.
Rubbles are what one could see after fire swooped on these shops and homes in the Okeafa area of Isolo in Lagos. Residents here say by an explosion from a fuel-laden vehicle which rammed into a stationary bus by the roadside. The combined efforts of concerned residents and firefighters couldn't rescue 3 girls of the same mother who had slept over in one of the shops.
We heard the vehicle was carrying petrol and policemen were chasing the vehicle to intercept the vehicle. Perhaps the vehicle lost control, but the vehicle hit a stationary vehicle parked here, and I think that was what sparked up the whole fire and spilled around this place.
While authorities of the Lagos State Fire and Safety Services promised to commence investigations into the incident for further actions, the Lagos State government commiserates with the families of the victims.
Anybody that is dealing in illegitimate business, it should be our concern. Whatever goes on in your environment should be your concern. Whatever happens in your environment should be your concern. We should be very, very watchful.
There are 3 of them. One age 12, the other one 6. Pelumi, Feromi, and Christiana. Christiana is 12, Feromi is 8, and Pelumi is 6 years old. They all died in the inferno. We are here to condole with the family and with the residents here and with the community here, just to tell them that the governor is with them in this very, very sad event. We are sorry that this thing occurred. It's a major accident. We do not pray for this kind of accident to occur again.
As those who sustained injuries in this sad occurrence receive treatment in the hospital, one can only hope that the family of the 3 girls who went with the fire will have the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss.
A sad day it is indeed. Our prayers are with the families of those who lost their children in that fire. Well, today was certainly not one of those good days for traders at the Nembe waterfront off Creek Road in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. A fire outbreak wreaked havoc on shops and wares worth millions of naira. The cause of the fire is still not clear, but some witnesses told Channels Television that those who fueled their speedboats at the waterfront could be held responsible for the inferno. However, no life was lost in the fire. In the continued effort to rid Kaduna of criminals, the police command there has busted an illegal arms factory in Kogun village in Jama local government area of the state. Several guns and ammunition were recovered and 2 suspects arrested in connection with the illegal business. In the same vein, 33 robbery suspects were also paraded by the command for car snatching, terrorism and illegal possession of firearms at different parts of the state. The State Commissioner for Police, Umar Shehu, paraded the suspects and disclosed that the illegal guns manufacturers were arrested following a tip-off from members of the public. And we're with the lawmakers now. The majority leader of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, says 100% budget implementation will be one of the major focuses of the 8th Assembly now that the principal officers of the National Assembly are decided and the lawmakers are set for work. Gbajabiamila told journalists that budget implementation is one of the downturns of socio-economic developments in Nigeria. a trend that can be reversed by the National Assembly, especially if revenue matches expectations. The majority leader has also urged the 8th Assembly to open up its books to the public with a breakdown of what lawmakers earn to allow public scrutiny and end the unfavorable speculations over salaries of lawmakers at the National Assembly once and for all.
You leave yourself vulnerable as a legislator to speculation if you're not transparent and you don't open up your books. So I am for the National Assembly to open up its books to the public, publish it. This is how much a legislator earns, and this is the breakdown. You may be surprised, I don't know, that the objective man out there may look at that breakdown and say, oh, this is not what we thought. What is wrong with this breakdown? You may be surprised. I believe under the circumstances, we have reached a point where those things must be disclosed, and then let the debate begin. Budget is a law, sometimes the most important law in any country, that gives you the roadmap, the economic roadmap on national development. So nobody is doing anybody a favor when you implement that budget, even 90%. The budget, a law is meant to be implemented 100%. The budget is no different. So I think part of the change that we'll be looking at is to implement budget, not 30, not 40, not 50%. There are processes, legal processes that we go through if we cannot meet the target. But for as long as the revenue matches is what we expect, and we have a balanced budget, I think part of the change that this country, this house or this government will be looking at is to implement budget fully. Because when budget is implemented fully, that's when you get development.
When the News at 10 returns, group sensitizes Nigerians on the need to check domestic violence against women and children. Please join us again.